What's going on, everybody? This is your man T-Bear coming with a introduction, I guess you can say. Normally when I do videos, something like this, I do them like 3 or 4 minutes, right? But lately, me and Joy have been talking, and I kind of wanted to still do like the Life After Love podcast, but it was more so like Joy's baby because it was talking about love. I mean, I was like the funny aspect of it, but Joy was like the emotional, sensitive side of it. So I was like, okay, we can't keep doing Life After Love, especially without my love, right? So she said, well, why don't you just do your own podcast? I was like, well, I just do my little 3-4 minute videos and I call it a day. She was like, why don't you just do a podcast? Because it's times where I often will talk to Joy about, I want to do this kind of video, I want to do that kind of video, and she would always tell me, well, it sounds like the type of videos that you want to do, it sounds like you want to teach. I was like, no, but I want to be funny and I want to make people laugh. She was like, no, you sound like you want to teach. So she was just like, you just need to go ahead and stop making excuses and go ahead and do your own podcast. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Like longer than, when I say podcast, I mean like longer than 10-minute form content. I mean, it's only so long I can talk by myself without feedback, but I said I'd give it a try. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to call this podcast. I said, I know what I'm going to call the podcast. I'm going to call it the Procrastination Podcast. She was just like, no, you're not going to do that. She was like, why don't you just name it the Man Training Podcast? For those who know me, or know my family, my dad created like man training, basically preparing, at the time, me and my brother, as young boys, preparing boys to be men, training up men. Yeah. So she was like, you always want to teach. Why don't you just go ahead and name it the Man Trainer Podcast? And I was just like, but the Procrastination Podcast sounds 10 times better. And she was just like, okay. And then one night, she was like praying. And she was like, Lord, I just can't wait for that video that Tyler does to take off. And we just pray for your mercy and your grace. And then she was just like, in order for the video to take off, you need to do some videos. You need to be putting out content. So I said, okay, I'm going to start being obedient and make sure I go ahead and start this podcast, even though that was probably about 2-3 weeks ago. But anyways, yeah. So the name of this podcast is the Man Trainer Podcast. I'm going to work on my consistency before I start spending money on like equipment, as far as, not equipment, but the logo and all that kind of stuff. But I might be hitting my boy Crank up for some introduction music. But for right now, this is where we at. I just want to make sure I do this consistently. But let's just say this. The topic for this first episode is going to be, the first topic is going to be, I'm trying to word it correctly. Okay. What excuses are you making that keep you from being great? What excuses are you making that are keeping you from being great? I know for me, when it comes to like doing these type of videos, I know I can do a podcast. I know I can have guests on here. I know I can do it great. I can do it, I can do a good podcast. But I would always tell myself, I need Joy, or I need this, or I need that. I need a better light. I need a better camera. And I would always have to tell myself, you literally have everything you need to film a movie, do a photo shoot, do a podcast. So I was like, okay, what excuses, do most people make that hinder them? You can ask yourself, what excuses am I making that are hindering me from being great? And I know a lot of times we don't want to hold ourselves accountable because we don't like the truth. And when you hear the truth, sometimes you want to fight and all this kind of stuff. I'm looking over here because my sound recorder. But you tell yourself, oh, that's not true. Oh, just because it's a good excuse don't mean it's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reason, like, I'm probably not further ahead in my online career is because I've been wasting time not putting out content, not putting out videos, not recording podcasts, because I always feel like, oh, I need this to be a big production. George just be like, you can do it on your phone. You can do it on this little camera. You can do it on a big film camera. You can do it, you got all this other stuff. So what excuse are you making that's keeping you from being great? So I just said, okay, I need to get to the point where One, doing this consistently. I want to have guests on here. Of course, I have a lot of teaching ideas, but I want to make sure I start doing this consistently before I start, branching out in other directions. But yeah, ask yourself, what excuse am I making that's hindering me from being great? There are a lot of things in life that God has, believe it or not, and I'm not preaching, I'm just saying, I guess I'm preaching teachings. A lot of things that God has in store for us, but He's just waiting for us to do our part. Like, God wants to bless you with that new car, but your excuse, I ain't got the money, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. But He just wants you to go to the car lot, and this person is going to be there waiting for you or whatever, and to work out a deal with you. But in order for you to receive greatness, you have to be in position to be able to receive it. And also that means, cleaning out your storehouse. If you've already been blessed, bless others with things that you have that you don't need. But we often are our biggest stumbling block, because we will plan, and Kev on stage talks about this a lot. We will plan. We will plan ourselves out of doing something. You have all these ideas. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The longer you plan it, the less likely it is that you'll execute it, because the more ideas you come up with, then you'll start seeing other people do. Oh, I had that idea first. Well, they just executed it first. So what's your excuse? Ask yourself, what's my excuse? Why am I not where I need to be? Where am I not where I want to be? What excuse have I used lately that has slowed my progress down and that has hindered me from getting to where I want to be? Ask yourself. I already know, for me personally, it's me. I'm getting in my own way and talking myself out of doing stuff that I know I can do, because I'll either feel like somebody else is doing it and they're doing it like good, and I don't feel like it's room for me, or I'll just tell myself that I don't need to do it now. I need some additional stuff. Or I need to, it's always something unnecessary. So ask yourself. This is my first podcast, my first episode, you could say, of the Man Training Podcast. I just noticed something. My kids messed up my board. I was wondering why I was leaning. But yeah, ask yourself, what excuse can you eliminate right now in your life that'll push you towards your destiny? Ask yourself, is something in your future that's like sitting there waiting on you, but we still sitting back here because, one, is comfortable, and two, because we feel like we don't have what we need, but instead of just using what we got to get what we need, we still keep making excuses. I'm talking to myself too. I'm looking at my viewfinder, so I'm looking at myself, so I know exactly who I'm talking to. So I'm talking self, Tyler. What excuses are you making that's slowing your progress down, bro? What are you doing? What you want to do? We supposed to be doing this thing consistently. Joy finna have this baby. That's 3 kids, man. We got to be famous soon. We got to get it together, bro. Anyways, yeah. I told you this is not going to be a long podcast, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But anyways, yeah, ask yourself, what excuse am I making, or what excuse can I eliminate that will hinder me from being great? All right? Until next time, make sure you like the At The Real T Bell page. I wanted to keep doing Life After Love with Joy, because it was something we could do together, and it was fun. I could do my video production stuff still. But Joy is being pregnant, closer to having this baby. She told me, look, I'll be tired. And by the time we get to film, which is after 8 o'clock when the kids go to bed, she'd be like, look, I'll be ready to go to sleep. I want to do my praise and worship. I want to read my Bible. I want to write my journal. And I don't want to be doing no podcast. So she was like, you just need to carry on, muster up the strength. I was like, all right then, bro. So here we are, doing this podcast. Like the page, At The Real T Bell. And if you want to see more episodes and hear the foolishness and the teachings that I have, no lie, all jokes aside, I have a lot of teaching ideas I want to do, especially one idea talking about finances. But I'm not going to get into it right now. But just subscribe to the page, share this video if you like it, and until next time, be blessed and go be great.
I had to do it again. Once that sun come up, hey, gotta get moving again. Hey, I had to do it again. Hey, I'm on a roll like a Benz. Hey, all I'ma do is I win. Hey, then I'ma do it again. Hey.